The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Alrighty, good afternoon, everybody. It is 3 o'clock. It is session 4 of TopSolid 2021, What's New in TopSolid Design. This session, we're going to be going over bill of material and drafting improvements. We'll give people a few seconds here to get logged in, and we'll get fired right off. Alrighty. As usual, there's a question area in the interface. If you have any questions, please go ahead and type them into the question bar, and we'll do our best to answer them live as we go. If we miss any of them, we'll of course follow up with some emails with whoever asked the questions. So, to begin with, let's look at bill of material improvements. Okay, and here we're going to talk about a new improvement with regards to retrieving properties in a bill of material. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to delete that column because I forgot to. So sometimes when you're in a bill of material, let's go to a multi-layer or a multi-level bill of material, for example. In a multi-level bill of material, you have the subcomponents as well as the name of the subassembly itself. And sometimes you'd like to know in a flat bill of material what subassembly something belongs to. Okay, so if we can go to a flat bill of material, now we're just seeing each individual object, but we want to know what subassemblies they belong to. So what we're going to do is we're going to go modify our columns. And for example, we're going to add a second description. So hit D on my keyboard just to get to description a little faster. I'm going to insert description in there. Now, normally, if you try to do this, it turns red. Okay, and it makes sense because we already have description in there. But where the new improvement is right here. We can tell it to go plus 1 level from the current level. Okay, and you see it says L plus 1. That just says it's going to go to the subassembly level or the part level if it's projecting a subassembly, for example. If we click OK, now you see, again, the name of the component and which subassembly it comes from at the L plus 1 description. Okay. From here, let's go talk about columns. Close out of this. We're going to go talk about merge cells. So in this bill of material, we want to go ahead and look at the properties and do this. So for example, for description, if the component is used with the same description, we want to merge those in the final bill of material. Okay. Same thing with material. We want those merged. So this is the new feature down here. What does that actually do? Let's go look at a draft file and you can see what it does. Anywhere that those properties were common, we're merging them just to make the bill of material a little bit simpler and easier to read. Okay? All right, let's close that. And the last thing on bill of materials we'll talk about right now is split cells. So with split cells, this has to do in draft. If we get rid of this bill of material, and let's go and include it, I'm going to pop it right there. Okay, and let me do this. Let me turn that off so it's all in one thing. So right now we're looking at this and it's fine. You can see, again, the common areas, but we want to set the text realistic, so we're setting the text in real size. When you set the text in real size, there is a new option in this split area called split merge cells. If you don't have that selected, it will not split a section that has a bunch of merged cells. So for example, if I turn this off, you're going to see that it divvies everything up real far because it's trying to keep everything that's common in one split section. Okay, so this way you can control nice and cleanly how it splits. Perfect. Okay, and that is the main bill of material improvements. Next, we're going to move on to drafting improvements. Okay, let me just get my little cheat sheet on the side here set up where I need it, just to make sure I hit on all the important points. All right, so first thing we're going to start with is view alignment. So we did a nice little improvement here. So right now, that view's unaligned, that view's unaligned. We would like to align this view with this view and then this view with this view. So in our view tab, we have this command alignment. I'm going to say that I want to align this view where? Is it from an origin or is it from a manual point? I'm going to say manual point, that point on the chamfer, to be this view, this point on the chamfer. And you can see it shows a preview of it shifted. We can validate, and now that view is attached. So if I move this up and down, you can see that it is following exactly that alignment. Okay? Same thing I want to do with this view. So I'm going to go up to here. I'm going to say I want to modify this view from that point to this view and that point. Perfect. And now that I can't go back and forth with, it's going to always follow that view. Okay, so just some nice simple to use view alignment tools. All right, next, how about an automatic interrupted view? So let's start with something simple. We'll go ahead and delete one of these interrupted views, just show you how they work. So we have a long part and we want to interrupt it so it's easier to fit on a piece of paper, right? We've always had an interrupted view, but now we have an interrupted view that can be created automatically. So I can select that view there, and then based on my shrinkage factor that I'm after, and this is how far off the sides we're compressing by, okay? I can choose the style of lines. You can change the colors. This is all normal stuff. It's this automatic mode that is pretty cool. And then it just determines and finds the right way to create our interrupted view. If we go look at something that's got a little bit more to it, let's maybe do this one. Okay, we'll delete that. And if we zoom up and notice, we have holes here, right? So now watch what happens when we run the automatic interrupted view. We're going to select our view and check it out. It automatically realizes that there's features there that are important. Again, we can make that a little bit bigger. You can change the style of the interrupted curves, whatever. And like that, you're still maintaining the proper lengths, right? And the proper distances between holes even. That doesn't change. It's just a way to describe and fit things on the screen more cleanly. Works at the assembly level as well. It'll find common details automatically. Okay? All right, what's next? So here we have a update to, actually a new command. It's called, did I skip over something? There it is. Cross-section Polygon. All right, so let's take a look. So right here, let me delete this. Let me delete this. Actually, I'm gonna delete that too. We'll just do it all from here. So right here we have our section view, right? So this is a mold open book view, but it could be for, anywhere you use cross sections. So because this is an open book view, I'd want to draw this same cross section line over here, just so that it can be referenced, looks identical. It will be symmetric to what we see here, right? So in our cross section drop-down menu, you have something called cross section Polygon. And here it's pretty simple. You switch to like, you choose the reference cross section, and now you choose the view to apply it to. It's pretty difficult, and you hit go. Now here you can see it indexes it up, which makes sense because it thinks you want to use this as a whole new section. In this case, we don't, so I'm just going to right click and edit, rename that to be A because it is in fact the same cross-section that we're dealing with. Now, another way to use this would be like so. So I'm going to make another view real quick here. And I'm going to project a whole nother set. I have our ejector system by itself, okay? So I'm going to put that down like so, rotate it because that looks peachy. Okay, there's a auxiliary view or whatever. And now what I want to do is I want to create a new cross-section. But when I create my new cross-section, normally you're on this view or this option here where you manually draw. I want to use the identical cross-section from the other page. So I'm going to go to here. I'm going to choose my cross-section, right? Then I'm going to go to page 2 and apply it to that view. Validate. And now here is a cross-section for this area based on that same common cross-section line. Okay? So cool improvement to cross-section polygons. All right, this next improvement for position of text on dimensions, I'm just going to go launch a video. So here we're taking a look at styles real quick. We can go into geometry. And basically we're going to show you that we've added a couple of other dimension styles, completely above and completely below. Okay. And then we'll show you how they work. So let's fast forward a little bit. If we go and add some dimensions. So there it's completely above. If you notice, if we drag this mouse to the right, it switches sides automatically as well. So it's very smart. Again, flipping sides, paying attention to where you're putting it. Here we're in composite dimension just to show you that you have the same functionality. Now we can edit the dimension set. Change the alignment. Now it's on the outside. You can go add another piece of geometry and you can see the dimensions on the outside. We can go put it back on top, flips it to the inside, adjusts the leaders automatically. I think you get the idea. Okay, the next one, automatic composite dimensions. Basically, this is just to let you know that the automatic composite dimension command works on sheet metal parts now. So if I delete this, for example, and if I go to my detailing tab and go to automatic composite dimensions, off we go. We can select our view, you can choose either a manual 0 point or an automatic one, and then you can choose which type of dimensions you want to apply. Okay. I'm sorry, and these are the automatic bending ones. That's another improvement. This is the one I wanted. Sorry about that. So automatic composites work on bent parts. And I had just shown you on accident the next one, which is the automatic bending composite dimensions, but we're going to do that one anyway, just to kind of, we'll go do this one to illustrate a few points. So for example, let's delete all that. And if I go to detailing and I choose this automatic bending composite dimension command, I can of course choose my view, can choose my 0. In this case, I want my 0 to be right there. You can see it's adding dimensions from one bend to another. We can do it however you want using the standard composite technologies. Okay. If you want to ignore a specific bending, go in here, select that bending to ignore. You can see now it's measuring from here to the next bend. Just depends on what you want to do, but nice, simple to use tool. Alrighty. Next, drilling note grouping in drilling tables. So let's go ahead and delete this. And now we're going to go to the detailing tab and we'll go to drilling notes, or pardon me, drilling tables. So with a drilling table, if I select my view, for those of you that use drilling tables, you normally pick 2 points, create a table, and that's great. But now there's an option where you can turn it off. You don't have to have it as a table. If you turn it off, it takes a sec and it regenerates. And now it's putting drilling notes on every single hole automatically. Or you can uncheck that and it'll only put it 1 time on each type of hole. So kind of an automated, faster way to get drilling notes applied using the drilling table functionality because it looks at the entire view. Okay. Again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to type them into your question box. Just catching up on my documents here. Okay, next one we're going to show, and I'll just show this one as a video. Oh, I'm going to point this out too, sorry. Again, has to do with drilling tables. So we've seen drilling tables before. They are now supported on sheet metal flat parts. Okay, so if you are a sheet metal user and you make flat drawings of your sheet metal parts, you can now do a drilling table on those sheet metal parts. All right, cone note is where we're going to go next. And here I'm going to run a video for this one. Oh, we have some questions. Sorry. Let me pause the video before we get going here. Can you select the hole that you want the arrow to point at? So if you're concerned by that, let me go back to that real quick. If you're concerned by which hole gets the drilling note, then I would just use the drilling note command manually. Okay, so if I select drilling note here and I want this one to be the one with the drilling note, I just select it and I get the drilling note. If you're using the drilling table, this is just for a bigger view to just get the notes on there quickly. So you're either doing it manually or doing it with some automation. The automation, it grabs the hole it decides to grab. Okay. You're welcome. All right, so on to cones. So we're doing the cone note now. Let me just rewind this so it starts from the beginning. So we can go into detailing and we can go and select the cone note and go ahead and select the conical feature. And now you have control over the conical note. So just to show you, if we go in here and edit this, you have a lot of different tools available to you. You can export the taper symbol if you want. You can see that puts it above it or puts it in line. You can play with the dimension line extension. You can play with the dimension line extension after the text. You can play with the taper symbol height if you want, change the size of it, play with the offset of the text. Okay. On top of that, you can control the note that's on there as well. So you can see the different formatting options that are available there. You can also add additional text to this note if you so desire. It's a rich text type of note. Uh-oh. All right, audio has been lost. He just told me. All right, hold on. Is there a way for me to send a... Oh, please check your network. Alrighty. There we go. Are we back? I think we lost internet for a second there, everyone. If someone can just type in their question that they hear me, that would be great. Do you hear me? I am offline. Joe, you're still online. Cool. Yep, we are offline. Yay. I'm going to try to connect to 2G. Let me do this. Nope. Hold on. All right, let's see. Okie dokie, I'm back. Hello. All right. Do you guys hear me? If someone could type into their questions. We lost internet at the office, so apologies. I'm connected through my cell phone, so I'll try to go nice and slow so that we can get through the rest of this webinar. Okay, so where we left off, we were talking about cone dimensions, and I think we were talking about where the different controls are with this dimension. I think we got past maybe this, so let's speed it up just a little bit. And then we're talking about the content itself. So you can edit the note, you can set the note to control 4 different ways of formatting a cone dimension. You can also add additional text to this note if you want. It's just a rich text box that is applying the cone dimensions. Okay. Perfect. So that's cone notes. Next, we're going to get into BoM Index. And just to keep things moving smoothly, I'm just going to run these off of my videos for the moment. So when creating a manual or automatic BoM index, you can adjust its inclination by checking the new angle box. Let's have a look. So if we go here, you can set its angle. Okay, and you see now that the balloons are tilted slightly. That's it. Okay, from there, let's look at the next sample. Having to do with bill of material tables. There's a new filter type available. So first of all, if we look at our bill of material, you can see the mounting indexes. You can see the manufacturing indexes. And then we're going to look at how we can filter. So main ID, mounting ID, quantity. Okay. And then if we go into the bill of material table, you can filter by set or by manufacturing index, for example. And it's just a way to control what you're showing and what information is present inside that table. Okay, next, let's look at surface finishing symbols. So you can now place a surface finishing symbol anywhere on the drawing as long as there is a view. You can also hang the symbol on the arrows or the frame of the annotation. So let's have a look. So we'll change the size of the text a little bit so it's a little bit easier to read. And now that is attached to that face. Alrighty. So let's move on. And we're going to move on to BoM indexes with magnetic lines. So with the magnetic line index, so here we have our bill of material, right? And we want to go ahead and add some balloons. Why not? Okay, and to keep things clean, we would like to align them all together. So we can control select them, right click, and create a magnetic line. You can keep it free or equidistant, however you want. And then, if you notice, when you try to move them, you'll see a line pop up. And that magnetic line is what is controlling those three balloons in those cases. Or you can right click on everything to edit all magnetic lines at once. And again, the whole idea here is just to give you a simpler way to cleanly and quickly organize your balloon indexes. All right, hypertext is next. So with the hypertext section has been added in the text, note, and rich text creation commands, as well as in the different text styles. It creates a link between a text of the document and either a PDM document, an email address, a website, a file, or a folder on the computer or network. So for example, we're making this hypertext. We're going to say it's a URL. And then you can go and define what URL it's going to. And off you go. And now if you mouse over it, you can see it's hypertext. You control plus double click to follow the link. And that will load that website. You can do the same thing with text inside of rich text. Select the text you want to modify and go up here to the right and choose what you want it to be. We want this to be a mail to link to this email address. Fast forward this a little bit. And there you go. This one is sorry, I fast forwarded too fast. This one is going to a Google Maps link. And I think you get the idea. There's a lot you can do with hypertext. Alrighty. So let's look at the next one. Symbols without profiles. What does that mean? So let's go to our symbol command. And here you have with or without profiles. We put a symbol on there and on there. We're going to add that into our representations. Okay, this way those symbols come with whenever we include that part in assembly. And they come with even when we include it in the draft. Alrighty, on to storage and annotations. All right. The dimensions and annotations are now arranged view by view in the annotations folder of the entities tree. So let's go here. You'll notice now annotations tree, view 1, those are the dimensions, datums, so forth, so on. So a nice clean organization of the content per view. I just see this question. When you print out a draft, does the hyperlink print underscored? That is a fantastic question. I haven't tried to print out one yet, so I don't know the answer. I'll try it after we're done and find out. Okay, what's next here? All right, so let me load the next video. So it is now possible to cut the link in drafting. In other words, you're basifying the drafting. Let's take a look. So here, if we go to the 7 pull-down menu, you can choose isolate the drafting. And you can choose what you're isolating. Okay. And then if we check it in and we do a reference search on this, you can see now it is what it is. This is just a way to cut the link permanently if you want to stop a specific draft document from receiving changes. All right. All right, now we have some ANSI dimension improvements that we're going to review. All right, let's go do some dimensions here. So now we can pull it down. You can see the dimension shows up, offset. We can edit that. We can go to the geometry and you can play with the offset there. Once you have manually changed it once, then you can come in here and you can type whatever value you want or set it back to the standard. Okay, I think we're just looking at some other samples here. Let's see, so in the ANSI standard, the dimensions have been modified to comply with the ANSI standard. You can now adjust the offset value for the vertical dimensions. For drilling notes or any command using text, simple or rich text, you can now adjust the leader anchor point and the offset value from the local attributes as well. Okay, so for example, here on a drilling note, do we want it aligned with the first line, the last line, or the whole text? So first line is where it's at right now. Last line would be the bottom line, and whole text would be centered on it. Like so. And then whole text would be centered. Decoration is to this frame. And then, as I said, whole text is to the center. Okay. So I believe that is it for drafting. So now let's go look at translators. Let me just go pull up my notes on that one. Just a couple of things to talk about there, and then I think we're done with what's new in TopSolid'Design. So I'm just going to drag this over. I don't know if this is stuff we're going to show live or not, but we'll talk about it. So a spatial import, the whole feature PMIs are now converted into interoperative holes so that manufacturing features can be produced for the machining. We can take a look at this. Actually, we have a nice video for it, so let's go ahead and take a look for it. There we go. So we'll convert this file, it's a CATIA file, we're importing the PMI. If we go look at our annotations, you can see there is all of the surface finish symbols and tolerances. Because of this, holes have been found and recreated as TopSolid holes so that we could pass the right information into the manufacturing feature. Okay. And now let's talk about XYZ translator, maybe? No, we did that already in the point cloud earlier. Okay, the other thing that's worth talking about is with PDF's 3D export, you have now a line thickness control. Okay, so you can set what you want your line thicknesses to be and line types to be as well for the 3D PDF export. Okay, and that's it. Those are the major items we're talking about. Does anybody have any questions from drafting or BoMs or translators or what have you? If not, then I'll say thank you for attending. Sorry for the hiccup in the middle of this, and look forward to seeing all of you in the CAM updates for tomorrow. Have a nice evening.